Good evening and welcome back once again. So in this video I want to show us how to draft a simple English trouser using a simple line method. So the length of my trouser is 42.5. Then you must have made sure you mark out the baseline as shown. Then you apply your length. The length is 40.5 rather, sorry, plus extra 2 inches. That's making it to be 42.5. So I am trying to join the whole allowance together with the length of the trouser, but usually I mark it out on its own. So this is also another method in order to enable us to understand or see how things can be done from different perspectives. Now the next to do here is to get my crotch. So now the formula we use is from the hips over 4. So the hip measurement we have is a hip of 47. Divided by 4, you have 11.75. So I will use 11.75 for the hip I will use 11 inch, sorry, for the crouch depth. Now the reason for this is because I feel, or I have made several clothes for this particular customer, and I have mastered his parameter, his measurements. So this is kind of a freer measurement that I took, but I'm using 11 crouch for his measurement. Now draw the line in that form. Extend the line in this form. So make sure the line is properly connected. Now the next to do is to apply the 47 measurement, that's 11.75 on that crotch line. Then you mark it in that form, just this way. And then after which add extra 2 inches. Now you must have made sure that your measurement is rightly divided. Now you check your waist measurement. The waist I have is a waistline of 37. Divided by 4, you have it to be 9.25. So you mark in that form as well. Then add extra 1 inch to the waistline. Now after that, you connect the extra 1 inch to the hip mark. Now this is trying to make all measurements fall in one marking. Then come up there by 2 inches. This 2 inches is for your hip position or hip point. Then from there, make a curve that connects in this form. So once you connect in that form, you have a curve in that direction. And after which, the next thing to do now is to get your knee line. So how do you get your knee line? Either by measurement or by formula or division. Then measure from the crotch depth, divide by 2, come up by 3. The total distance from here to the crotch depth, divide by, so you mark the line as shown. You extend the line as shown. Then to get the half point, divide the knee distance to the ankle distance by 2 as well. Then get the midpoint. Now these lines will be needed in this type of trouser drafting. Then come in here by 2 inches at the hem. Come in by 2 inches at the hem. Then come in at that ankle, the hem line by 1.5. Then come in here by 1 inch. Remember that the baseline, the side lines will not be included, or are not included rather. So you connect the line as shown. Connect the line as shown properly this way. So this is a simple line method of trouser drafting where you don't have much curves coming in. So with the help of your hip curve, you position them nicely this way as well. Position them this way, connect. Because of the fabric in question, it's kind of silky, so the marking, you should be careful when drafting so that it doesn't shift the fabric placement. Then once you have placed them in this form, you connect them as shown this way, connect as shown this way. And then the next to do now will be to mark your ankle. Ankle is 14.5. So divide by 2, you act it that way. Then calf, you have to add extra half an inch to whatever your ankle is. The reason for this is to make sure that it doesn't get too tight on the calf. Then the knee is 18.5, so divide by 2 as well. You mark that way, 10.5, you mark it that way, and then connect the line in this form. Please note that in a standard measurement, once you have divided your hip by 4 plus extra 2 inches, it must be equal or equal to lap by 2. If your measurements are correct, this assertion must correspond. Your hip by 4 plus 2 must be equal to your lap divided by 2. Remember, so that's the reason I did not make use of my lap, because I've already covered it. So with this pattern of trouser drafting, you don't have much problems. So the next is to mark your pocket measurement 7 inches deep, or 7.5, depends on the size, and then the width is 2.5. So you mark it as shown, then you're good to go. Then you start cutting. Please, in cutting, make sure you notch here by half of an inch. Then cut from this direction. The cutting must be done in a very smooth and straight manner. So enjoy the sound from the scissors. As you are drafting, make sure that the fabric is not shifting to any direction. Now, I have met several people that ask me, don't I extend the ankle mark in an A-line form? Now, the reason is because when you have your measurements correctly and you are locking in a straight line form, you may not need to extend that ankle line to give you that A-shaped form. So bear in mind that this method is particular to me. I'm not trying to dispute any other method out there. I'm only trying to show you how I make mine. For some of us who might have watched my previous videos, you will agree with me that I have different methods in drafting trousers, and all of them, I use them interchangeably for different customers and different body shapes. Now, the reason for this is to make sure that I have a diversified method of drafting to make the work interesting as always. Alright, so now the next to do is to add extra 2 inches. Now these 2 inches accommodates both the weaving allowance, the sewing allowance, and all the allowances needed to lock your trouser. I have also seen several people ask me, don't I add allowances on my trouser? So the answer is that the back panel houses all the major allowances needed in drafting, right? So in sewing, so you don't need to add much allowances to the front panel, because conventionally the back panel is always bigger than the front panel. So you add 2 inches all through, and also do the back waist extension raising by 2 inches or 1.5, and then from there you connect the line as well. So when doing this, you must make sure you have your ruler to connect. So you connect the line as shown, and then you cut from that direction. So as you can see, the back panel must be bigger than the front panel. So this is the conventional way of drafting this particular type of trouser. So the reason I tend to make more cutting or drafting videos for us to watch is for us to know and see that there are different ways to do some certain things, and for us not to remain stagnant with any method we have learned. Every method works. It all depends on who is using it and how efficiently you have mastered the art of using it. So if you find this video interesting, don't forget to like, share, comment, and also invite your friends on this channel or on my Facebook page, depending on the platform you are watching this video from. So I will also make the sewing tutorial on this. when I feel most of us must have mastered the drafting stage. So the next I am doing is to cut out the sidelines. Then the next to do here is to draft the components, which are the band, the flap, pocket facing, welt pocket plackets. So with these things, you will see them during the sewing stage. And the measurements needed are, for the band, the width is 2.5, but the length of your customer's waist circumference by 2, plus extra 7 inches. I will mention the rest as we draft them in this video. So for the band, the rule states that you must cut out the baseline first. Now, the baseline will help you to have a smooth band. Please note that these things are important. They are very important. So don't ignore them. You must have a straight base before you start drafting and marking your measurements needed for a band. So the straight base, the width of the band, like I said, is 2.5. So you mark 2.5 all along that strand. So once you have marked it out, you connect the line as shown, and then the next to do is to cut it out like you are done already. Don't forget that this band is on fold with 2 layers there, so it's better that your band length is longer than your waist circumference than is short, so that you don't need to join, and the joining might appear on a place where it will be an eyesore. It will not go well with your finishing. So you cut the band as shown. So now the next to do here is to mark out your bed loop. The bed loop measurement is 1.5 inch width by the length of 24. But in most cases, you can cut or mark more than 24. Then later on, you pick the best of your loops, and you're good to go. So the bed loop, like I said, the width is 1.5 and the length is 24. There are 6 loops in the trouser. Each loop is 4 inches, so 4 times 6 is 24, but you can cut more than 24. Alright, so now the next to cut here is the pocket facing. So which, the width could be 4 inches width and length of 11.10, however, but just try to, make something meaningful out of it. Alright, so now the next you're cutting the flap. So the flap measurements will be 2.5 inches to 3 inches width, by the length of 7 inches to 9 or 11, depending, right? All these things are subject to change on the customer size you are making. But the flap length should not be more than the depth of the crotch which you used in your draft. Alright, so now the next to do is to cut your welt pocket placket. That's what most people call the back pocket, right? It's actually called welt pocket placket. You always mark a straight line. Now the width could be 3 inches or 4 inches, but the minimum is 3 inches, right? You can make it 3.5 or 4, depending if you want to have something tangible to hold when making your placket. So 3.5 or 3.75, however, then the length is always 7 inches to 8 inches, that range. Then connect the line as shown, and then you cut it. So after the cutting stage, the next thing you have is the gumming. So which you use gum stain, or what they call the paper stain, to gum over it. So which I will also explain to us how the gumming is done. But I will not show us the gumming processes in order to save us time to learn the sewing proper. So see you guys in the sewing section, where I will explain in details how the gumming was made. Thanks for watching, guys. See you guys in the next sewing section. Bye bye for now.